Okay, we are live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Sunday Summary. I'm your co-host, Steven. With me as always, but typically in much better spirits and health, is Kyle. Kyle's feeling a little bit under the weather today. We are only 5 minutes late, which is pretty good. But I want to give a shout out to Kyle, who's pulling through for the love of the game, really. The love of the show, the love of the subscribers, our members, things of that nature. So Kyle's going to do his best to stay afloat today. And yeah, let's get into it. So Kyle, in not so many words, how you doing today, man?
I've been better. I've completely lost my voice, but I'm going to push through.
All right. And let's just go over to the chat, see who we got. Ardio McDodge, always here. Nick, Nelson, Shayna, anyone else that's in here, pop in and say hello. And Liverpool's lineup is officially released. Kyle, if you want to share that, you can share it today for sure.
For sure.
I think your hands work. We'll take a look at the lineup. Liverpool set to take on Southampton. And Kyle, this is a big weekend because obviously City lost their 5th straight match yesterday. Arsenal looked pretty good. I know. It's the first time in Pep's managerial career that he's lost 5 consecutive matches, which is wild. Actually, not so wild. 5 in a row is a lot. Yeah. I feel like Klopp probably had that streak as well until 2022 or whenever we were all banged up and Van Dijk was out for the year. 2021 maybe. I don't even remember when that was.
I think that year was 6. We lost 6 in a row.
Yeah, it was something crazy too, like 5 in a row at home or something. Yeah. But anyways, Oyvin's in here. Aylor, Liz. Liz says feel better soon, Kyle. Cartiers, if I said that wrong, my apologies. But anyways, here's the lineup. And I knew this was coming today, so I want to give a shout out to Harvey Elliott, who's back. I have the original Harvey Elliott jersey on right here, number 67. Before he changed to what's he, 19 now? Yeah. But anyways, welcome back, Harvey. And those are the little things, right, that you forget in this big streak that we've been on is who hasn't been available. Chiesa, Harvey, who else has still been out? Alisson, right?
Dude, yes.
We're still running through the Champions League as well as the Premier League without these guys. And I think that just makes it even more impressive. But welcome back to Harvey. So, starting 11, Kelleher, Van Dijk, Konate, Szoboszlai, Nunez, Salah, Jones, Gakpo, Robertson, Gravenberch, Bradley. Okay. Somebody's going to have to get me up to speed on Trent. What's going on with Trent? Let us know in the chat here.
I think he is still working through his injury, but maybe a couple weeks.
Yeah, I just was looking for a couple weeks. I'm not sure of timeline. And then on the bench, we have Yaros, Davies.
Ben Davies?
Ben Davies is back?
Is Ben Davies back?
He's back, finally. There's no way that's him.
No, that's the keeper, Harvey Davies or something.
Okay. Gomez, Endo, Diaz, McAllister, Elliott, Kwanzaa, Morton. So,
okay.
Yeah. Let us know in the chat. Is this what you guys expected lineup-wise? I think the only question mark would have been, would McAllister have been in for one of these guys?
Right. And
I would imagine this has to do with the international break.
Yeah.
And also, interesting that we're not playing at 12:30 post-international break.
Hey, Jones deserves the start. I'll say that.
Jones has been magnificent.
Unbelievable.
And I think it's nice because as toxic as social media is, he's starting to get his flowers a bit. I think you've probably noticed that, Kyle. We've seen some pundits. Kyle's been on the roll-ups, Supreme Architect. We've seen the pundits start to come around on Curtis Jones. We've seen the media start to get behind Curtis Jones and give him some praise. We know what he's been capable of. Obviously, years ago, he battled injuries. We never really got to see him get into good form because he never was able to string together a run of games. But last year, especially, and now this year, he's just playing out of his mind. And it's so great to see, especially when you consider that we were screaming for more reinforcements in the midfield, particularly in defensive midfield. Now we have Gravenberch, Endo as your second option, which feels good. And with Soboslai, who we have no idea what his deal is, because whenever he plays nationally for his country, he's the best player in the pitch. And then for us, we don't really know what we're going to get. So it's nice that Jones has continued to rise and improve.
Agreed. I like Gakpo too.
Yeah, the Gakpo move is huge. Any word on Jota? What's going on with him?
I need him back.
Totally. Pundits like him, it's our fans that are the ones that slate him the most, like Michael Ramsey. If Michael Ramsey's here, say hello. Ross says, nice to see Bradley being rewarded for his recent excellent international form. I would agree with this. And I think this is a big game for him because with the uncertainty of Trent, it's like, okay, Bradley, you're gonna get a full match here. Are you capable of filling that void? Because we've seen Trent get injured many, many times. I think Bradley absolutely is, but he's got to put in a good shift today. Work rate needs to be high. Defending needs to be good. And then if you can just put in a couple crosses, I think we'll feel comfortable with the uncertainty of Trent's return. Oyvind says, Jota is still apart from the group, same as Federico is coming back into the session, maybe for one exercise today. As far as Chiesa goes, Kyle, thank goodness that Salah's in incredible form, and we haven't reached, with the international breaks and just the time of year, we haven't reached that point. We're about to head into it now, where you're playing like every 3 days, when we would really need Chiesa. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but he needs to come back soon, or there's going to be conversations to be had about, like, obviously he was so cheap. So that's the asterisk with anything when you talk about Chiesa. But is he somewhat of a flop? Like, we need to see you play. I'm not ready to jump to that conclusion yet, but we need you now. We got you for this stretch of the season. These stretches where the games are tight, the schedule's congested, the fixtures come fast. So hopefully he can bounce back.
People will start to say Arthur or Chiesa.
I know. I've already heard that.
Yeah.
Like, I've literally already heard people make those comparisons, which is sad.
I'm trying, guys. I'm trying.
Yeah, Kyle, you're doing just fine. Chiesa doesn't. Oyvind says Chiesa doesn't exactly feel like a big loss, and that's why I prefaced my last little monologue there with, "Thank goodness that Salah's been playing out of his mind, and he just happens to be the most fit athlete on the planet." Because if he was dealing with knocks and banged up and missing matches, with Elliott out for this extended time, now he's back with the foot, I think we'd be in trouble. Jota's out. You lose options of folks that can play on the right. Who would even play on the right? Soboslai? Diaz? Ugh. I guess it's okay. But Diaz loves to cut in on his right foot. So what's he going to do from the right side?
Crosses.
I guess. He's not much of a
No, he's not a passer.
Crosser.
He's not a passer whatsoever. And Gakpo has showed this year, really cutting on that right foot, he can be a problem shooting from outside the box. So if need be, and we saw it under Klopp, I think I found my voice right now, guys. I'm on a roll. So if Gakpo needed to play on the left, Diaz could play on the right because we saw it under Klopp. Now, Diaz is a out and out left winger. We've seen Slot play him at the 9 this year. Like over the last 2 games, I feel like he's put him there. And, it's fine. We buy forwards to play across the front. Same with Chiesa, right? That's why he was a steal. We got him. He plays across the front. And if he could just be fucking healthy, right, we wouldn't have this stress, right? However, I will say we are not as injured. It seems, knock on wood, it seems that we're not as injury prone this season as we were under Klopp. Right now, it's early days. I know it's not even December, but what I'm seeing is the same old from Jota and Alisson, right? But players that were before going down with injuries every other week, Konate, right? That's the main one that comes to mind. But Konate, Jones, he was injured, but he's back. I feel like players are actually more available this season so far than they've been in years past.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It probably has something to do with the style of play, for sure. But in the same token, it's also interesting because on the other side of that, you haven't seen a ton of rotation.
Right.
We have not seen a ton of rotation. It's clear that Slot wants to win every competition. And for the most part, within reason, he wants to put out the strongest 11. You've seen a little bit of rotation here and there, but a lot of it's forced because of injuries. So, but yes, more of the same with Jota and Alisson. No surprises there. And I think the big thing is, Kyle, the main players have been fit. And what I mean by that is, aside from Trent, the heart of your team, the foundation of quality in the likes of Van Dijk, Konate, Salah, McAllister, have been available. I would say that's a big piece of it. Kyle, do you want to pull up the Southampton lineup? And we're going to talk through Southampton really quick as we preview this match. This isn't going to be a super long show given Kyle's condition. However, I think it's important to take a look at this because we have a golden opportunity presented to us today, which we've also had one, maybe 2 weekends in the recent past here, where we can take advantage of City dropping points. Arsenal won yesterday. Arsenal looked good against Forest. I think Forest is going to start coming back down to earth now. That would be my prediction. And let us take a look at this.
I'm trying to find it. Hold on.
So I'll preface this with Southampton is absolute bottom of the barrel, guys.
Correct.
Southampton has 1 win, 1 draw, 9 losses, 4 total points, goal differential -14.
Wow.
7 goals for in 11 matches played, 21 against. So they don't have the worst defense in the league. However, Liverpool's got almost the opposite. 21 goals for, 6 goals against. So you got absolute sitting on their perch, top of the table, Liverpool facing the worst team, maybe one of the worst teams we've seen in recent history in the Premier League. And then when you see this lineup here, this is really going to help you guys understand why they're so low. This lineup, Kyle, once it loads, is abysmal. It is one of the most random, classless, qualityless lineups I've ever laid eyes on. And I don't want to disrespect Southampton.
It won't load.
What's that?
It won't load.
Oh, Southampton has given us some high quality Liverpool legends. So shout out to them for being a talent factory for a few years.
It used to be a talent factory. They used to be a talent factory. Now,
They went
who
down.
knows? Maybe the guys they have right now, in 3 years, they'll be good, right? But Suleimana is like the only guy on that team where I'm like, okay, he's kind of good. But everyone else, I don't know anybody.
No, it's very,
All right,
very, very bad.
This is trash. This is awful. What the hell is going on?
So let me just read it off, okay?
Can you please?
In
Because
goal.
this is terrible.
In goal, McCarthy. Back line, Kyle Walker
Okay.
Peters. Okay, listen. And by the way, I want to completely admit I don't even know a lot of these players. That's how poor this is. Kyle Walker Peters, Harwood Bellis, Stevens, and then Ryan Fraser make up the back line. In the midfield, Adam Lallana.
Oh,
Fernandez, whoever that is, Downs, and Dibbling.
Dibbling?
Up top, Armstrong and Onuachu. Ring any bells?
Armstrong. That's a bad
Holy
lineup.
crap.
But Steve, one thing I will say, we cannot play down to Southampton.
It is an away match too. So this could be one of those
Right.
weird ones.
Don't play down to them. Wax that ass today. 9-0. All right. This is one of those games, bro, that I mean, I've seen it. You've seen it. Where it's like a 1-1. And
and then we pick it up and then we win it at the end there. But here's why this is so important, Kyle. First of all, the reason we feel like extra lean towards we better not play down to the competition is given what's happened this weekend already, and that's City have dropped points. There's also the element of we're top of the table and they're absolute bottom. So it feels like, oh no, we really can't lose this game or we can't drop points. That's the case with any match. But if you think about it objectively, there's no way this game should even be close.
Right.
And then where did my Ross pin go?
Oh, my bad.
Here he is. Winning over City would be a psychological dagger to the heart of Man City. We have to win today, and then we have to win next weekend. If those two things happen, Kyle, City is probably out of the title race. There's always a chance that they can go on a run of games. We know that. And I'm not saying it's 100% certain. But if that would be the case, how many points up would we be on City? I can't even do math.
I think that is a very, very... It's too early to say that. It's too early to say that.
Okay, so listen. We would be up 8 points today. And if we beat them next week, we would be up 11. A third of the way through the season.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
No. 11 is a big, big gap. What I'm saying is we are in full control at that point in terms of what happens. The only way they can catch up is if we have a catastrophic drop-off like we saw after the winter break a few years ago. Now, you have all of these other teams that are fighting for spots 2 through, we'll call it 5, and then 6 through 10. It's tight. It's tight. So we need to take advantage of this dip in form that City has, and build that gap at the top.
I remember a few years ago, we were down 13 at Christmas. Maybe more, maybe 15. We came back, closed the gap, and I think we ended up losing the league by 1 point, Steve. There is no gap that's safe unless it's 47,000 points. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't. This goes to show because City just dropped 5 straight. 5 straight. That's 15 points. And
Well, it
Liverpool,
wasn't all in the league. You're right, but it wasn't all in the league.
I'm just saying it's possible. So anyone who says, in my opinion, they're out of the title race when there's mathematically 25 games to go is just out of their mind. It's Man City, bro. Step on their throat, win every game, widen the gap as much as possible. Do not look at this as, we're okay if we drop points. We have a 11-point lead or, whatever. And I'm not coming at you. I'm just saying I am so scarred from losing the league by 1 point. Just widen the gap.
I have a very hot take, Kyle.
Let me hear it.
Losing the league by 1 point does not hurt as bad as last year. And here's why. The years we lost the league by 1 point, and I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly, we were always chasing. We weren't in control of what happened. I'm pretty sure they were always like 1 point ahead or 3 points ahead, and they draw, and then we'd be level. But they were in control of their destiny. Last year, it felt different because we knew it was Klopp's last season, and we had a gap. I'm pretty sure we were up 5 points with 5 or 6 matches to go last year. Somebody, Ross, anyone in the chat who remembers this more clearly than I, let me know, what was the gap last year and how many matches were left to be played? We were in control last year. We were in the driver's seat, and we blew it. Those years that we lost by 1 point, it was just two incredible teams winning. Oyvind says, yes, 5 points clear. He also says, nah, 1 point was way worse. It's been a while since we felt that. So maybe it's recency bias for me, but I'm still hurting over last year. I'm still hurting over the fact that we should have won the league. Nobody talks about it in the media. Nobody talks about it. For the last 2 years, they've been talking about a 2-horse race with Arsenal and City. They seem to forget we blew it last year. Nobody's calling us bottlers, which is good because we don't want that negative spin on us, but it's essentially what happened. And it hurts because not only did we not win the league, Kyle, we didn't even finish second. And it was Klopp's last year. And it ended awfully. Please, go ahead.
So I do agree with what you're saying. I do. Where I disagree is the media. You can't say the media forgot about Liverpool without saying that Arsenal choked. Arsenal were leading the league the first half of the season. Okay? So if they should be talking about anybody choking, it's about Arsenal. So that's number one. Okay?
They led for like 274 days or something.
That's
insane.
That's my point. So I'm fine that they're not talking about us because we don't need any more negative media. So that's number one. Number two, losing the league by 1 point hurts way worse because it happened twice, Steven. We lost on the last day of the season twice.
No. We didn't lose. See, I know what you mean.
Twice.
We didn't lose. We didn't lose on the last day of the season. Here it is. Ross says losing by a point always hinged on City losing. We didn't lose the title race. We didn't win the title race.
Okay.
Because earlier in the season, it was all the draws. We talked about this. Way too many draws. And you put yourself in a position where you're not in control. And when you're in control and you blow it, to me, that hurts more. Because being able to compete with City for those years where we lost by 1 point is an achievement in and of itself. I always thought we were better. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you're not in control, you're not blowing anything. You're not losing anything. And when you think about it from that point of view, it doesn't feel like a failure It's just stings because it was so close. You'd rather them win the league by 8 points or something like that. But if that's the case, then we lose more matches and we don't play that magical football for 38 games of a season. It hurts to lose something that you have your hand on already. And again, Klopp's last year, and we didn't even finish second. We completely folded. Completely folded. So that's how I look at it.
And when you put it that way, looking at it from the lens of we were never in control. You're right. But still, being that close, 1 point, all the way down to the last game, it was the hope that hurts. The hope of winning the league, to me, stings more than having control of it and then falling off. Like, for me, it's like, oh, right up to the last minute, Aston Villa are up by 2, and then City come back. Like, are you joking?
Yeah, I mean, it hurts more because it's more abrupt. It stings. It's like getting sliced rather than it's like getting sliced all at once in a big gash rather than slowly falling down a hill and picking up scrapes as you bump over each. I don't know. It's like rowing, dude. It's like rowing. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, it's like the pain was extended over 6 weeks last year. The pain in those seasons where it was 1 point was 1 day, one half. When you talk about the Villa match, 1 half. And Supreme Architect had said David Cook cost Liverpool the title. We're going to hear more about that. We haven't really talked about that, Kyle, but I'm not ready to sit here and
let's talk. I'm
not ready to sit here and say like that's the reason, but that's the reason. Who knows? Who knows how he felt years ago? And when did that video even come? When was that video?
I don't know, but one thing I will say is I don't like how I'm all for debating different reasons why we lost the league and mindsets and stuff. What I don't like is when people cherry pick one specific thing that lost us the league, because that's not what happens. Okay? It is 38 games over the course of 8 or 9 months. You cannot pick one thing that lost you the league. Okay? Maybe the only thing that even comes close is when John Stones cleared that ball off the line against City. That's the only thing that you can say that is one instance where if that went differently, we win the league. Because of how close it was. I can't look at a poor handball or a missed handball and say that we lost the league because of that. I don't know. To me, that's just you deal with shitty refs. Right? I mean, that's
I disagree with the Rodri element to this. It's a clear Kyle, his arm. He's literally reaching for the freaking stars.
No. Let me clarify. I'm not saying it's a missed call. It clearly is, right? But then you have to make the penalty, right? There's multiple things that go into that. So I'm looking at it as, okay, it was a missed call, but there's no guarantee we make the penalty kick, right?
No, but it's almost a sure thing.
I don't know.
It's almost a sure thing because what's the percentages on if you're a crooked referee, you can't necessarily decide the outcome of games because there's 100 minutes of football that gets played.
That's my point right there. Stop. That's my point.
However, what's the penalty success rate in the Premier League, Kyle? I have no idea, but I would guess it's 90%.
I was going to say it's got to be 95 or something.
Yeah, it's got to be very, very high. And so that situation, while it didn't lose us the league, in a title race or title races where the margins are so fine, decisions like that are deciding factors. It's not, oh, we lost the league because of this. There's a million things that go into the equation when you think about why City had more points than Liverpool in that time frame. But with a crooked referee at the very end of the season, that was one of the last few games. I can't even think about it. It's heartbreaking, Kyle. Did VAR look at that? Was he the on-field ref or was he in the booth?
The only thing
Doug would know.
Doug would know, but I don't know. I want to say he was in VAR for that one. But let's give a shout out to Widen real quick.
Widen, member for 41 months. What an absolute legend. Whenever we don't have the show, Wydin's like, come on, guys. You know, he's always eager to spend time with us on Sundays. We appreciate you. He says we're winning it this year. No need for negativity. I have no negativity towards this year. If anything, I'm leaning towards let's lock it up early. The negativity stems from, honestly, today stems from Kyle, if I'm being honest. I think City are never completely out of the title race, but if we win today and next week, 11 points is a pretty big gap. Lots of time left to play. There's still the 6-point swing that could happen when we play them next if they beat us, right? So it's technically a 3-point swing, but you know what I mean.
Let's back up for just a second and explain that, in my opinion, there's a difference between being negative and being realistic. So we're a third of the way through the season. I think it would be ridiculous all I'm saying is that it's ridiculous to say that City are out of the title race if we win today and then beat City. Right? I don't think that's negative at all. I just think like that's a fact, right? I'm still positive. I love the football that Liverpool are playing. This might be up there with one of the single best runs of form in the league that we've seen since 2015. Right? Since the turn of the Liverpool dynasty, I guess you could say. But
it's probably the second best run just from a start, because it's different.
Right.
We're talking about the start of the year. So the year we won the title, I think we started off like 27-1-1 or something crazy.
And unbelievable. Yeah.
And that's when we were up by 47,000 points at the turn of the year.
Right.
If you'll remember the math on that.
I do.
But please continue.
Yeah, and so with that, I'm just saying it would be naive for people to say we're winning it this year. Now, I get, like, be positive. I love that, right? But my job and Steven's job on a podcast is to talk about these things, not to just brush them off like, oh, we're winning it. Oh, we're winning it. Then it would be boring. Then there's nothing to talk about, right? You have to look at it from a strategic standpoint, from the fact that even if you're up by 11, it would be if we won today and then beat them, maybe it would be 14. I don't even know. No, it'd probably be 11. You can't just say, oh, it's locked up. Not in this league. Not with how our form historically has been in winter, in the hard months, from January to March, when we're battling in the Champions League and the League Cup and the FA Cup. When you have all those competitions, you're bound to have poor results. It just happens. And if it doesn't happen, you're looking at a historic team. And that's a different story. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I've said this before. Take advantage of the opportunities you're given, like today, where you can widen the gap.
I feel like in years past, we haven't.
Taking the opportunity?
Yeah, not every time. There's times where we do, but
that's what I'm saying. Take advantage of these opportunities, because when it does come down to the final game of the season, Steven, you want to be in control. You do not want to be relying on City losing to Wolves or Villa, because it doesn't happen often. You need to take advantage of these opportunities now, because when that time comes, you want to be in the driver's seat.
No, absolutely. Well spoken. So, a couple things I want to talk about here. Shayna says Arsenal and Chelsea are there too. I believe that Arsenal will turn things around. However, Chelsea, while they look decent in the table right now, they have not beaten anyone. Folks would argue that Liverpool hasn't either, or they were for the first couple months there, but we beat United, we beat Chelsea, we're running through the Champions League. I think that narrative has dwindled down a bit. Chelsea's not a threat to the title. If you look at their results, they have not beaten anyone. Anyone. Any solid team they play is either a draw or a loss. So it's a fact. Number one. Number two, the opportunity to widen the gap today. The reason I'm excited about this and with this lineup is because there's hunger on the pitch today. When I look at Nunez, Gakpo, specifically Jones, Bradley, and Robertson, those people, they're hungry. Work rate's going to be high. They are not guaranteed starters. Robertson's got something to prove, right? He hasn't played a ton. He's been banged up a little bit. Those guys are the X factors today. Bradley is going to leave his heart out on the pitch. Jones wants to continue rising his stock. Robertson's Robertson. Nunez is going to work his tail off. And Gakpo, we know what he can do. The other guys, the Gravenberch, Salah, Van Dijk, Konate, we probably know what we're going to get from them. But it's these other guys that are going to make the difference today and why we're going to be hungry and not settle for the fact that we're playing the worst team there is and we'll widen the gap today. So with that, I'm going to go score prediction 3-0.
3-0, I think, is an excellent score prediction, Steve. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we have not been a team that is blasting goals past teams this season. So with that in mind, I'm going 2-0 to Liverpool with Darwin getting 2 goals. Mark it down.
I love that.
Bookmark it. And Liz, I want to say thank you as well for the $2 super chat. But guys, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Steven because Steven today did phenomenal hosting this show. I was locked in the entire time, engaged, and I think everything you said, Steve, was spot on and well articulated. And I would be honored if you hosted the show anytime in the future. It was that good, in my opinion. So thank you for covering for me because I sound like dog shit. So thank you.
Like Chelsea, dog shit. No, it's an honor, Kyle. Being a co-host, it's nice to be along for the ride, but I'm happy to step up when needed. I'm built for this. We both are. And today, Liverpool's going to widen the gap. Any closing thoughts, Kyle?
Guys, it is a long season. And it is so easy to slip into the trap of City are out of it, Chelsea are out of it, Arsenal are out of it. And a lot of times it's just banter, right? But what I think, and I think Arne Slot is telling his team this too, take advantage of the opportunities when they come your way because it's not guaranteed throughout the season that you're going to get these opportunities, especially when you're playing head to head with Man City. You need to win against Southampton. Then next week, you have an opportunity to put Man City on their ass directly and get 3 points. Take advantage of the opportunities so you can be in the driver's seat when it matters the most in the closing games of the season because I'm tired of coming up short.
On the heels of that, I have nothing to say other than thank you to Beth, Aunt Beth, legend, for the $20 super chat. We appreciate
Thank
you
you.
always showing up. So Kyle, with that, let's go get a win today. Let's widen the gap. And that's all we got. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Take the next 15 minutes, fill up your pints. Regardless of where you are, it's not too early here in the US. It's 8:45 a.m. So have a drink. I don't condone drinking, but it's never too early when the Reds are on. And until next time, Reds, take care.